Russia said on Friday that Ukraine had fired a missile towards Moscow and attacked the Crimean Peninsula with 42 drones, one of the biggest known coordinated Ukrainian air attacks to date on Russian-held territory. Russia's defense ministry said it had shot down a modified S-200 missile over the Kaluga region, which borders the Moscow region. The city of Kaluga is less than 200 kilometers from Moscow. The missile was detected and destroyed by air defenses over the territory of the Kaluga region, the defense ministry said. There were no casualties, Kaluga governor, Vladislav Shapsha, said. The ministry also said Crimea, which Russia annexed in 2014, was attacked. 9 drones were destroyed by air defense forces while 33 were suppressed by electronic warfare and crashed over Crimea without reaching their targets, it said. Ukraine says Crimea part of its internationally recognized territory. Mikhail Razvozhaev, the Moscow-installed governor of the port city of Sevastopol in Crimea, said on the Telegram messaging app that a number of drones was destroyed over the Kherson's promontory, on Sevastopol's outskirts. There were no immediate reports of casualties or damage from the attacks, which Russia blamed on Ukraine. Russian airports suspended flights for a few hours. The attack were the latest in a surge of similar attacks since 2 drones were destroyed over the Kremlin in early May. Ukraine almost never publicly claims responsibility for attacks inside Russia or on Russian-controlled territory in Ukraine, but has been saying in recent months that destroying Russia's military infrastructure helps Kyiv's counteroffensive. Russians attack on 3 fronts, 26 combat clashes over past 24 hours, General Staff report. Over the past day, the Russian invaders unsuccessfully attacked the Kupiansk and Avdiivka fronts, while the defense forces held back the Russian invasion on the Marinka front. In total, 26 military clashes took place over the past 24 hours. Source: General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook. Information is of 1800 on the 24th of August. Details: on the Volyn and Politia fronts, the operational situation is without significant changes. On the Severshina and Slobozhanshina fronts, Russia launched an airstrike near Babolivka, Sumy Oblast. Russia carried out mortar and artillery attacks on more than 25 settlements, including Bleshnya, Yenjulivka and Mykolivka, Chernihiv Oblast, Chernatsky, Lomlenka, Kindrativka, Novodmitrivka and Luhivka, Sumy Oblast, in Udi, Haranov, Ohertsev, Bochkov and Budarki, Kharkiv Oblast. On the Kupiansk front, Russia conducted unsuccessful offensive operations in Novoihorivka, Luhansk Oblast. Russia carried out airstrikes in the areas of Orlyanka, Kharkiv Oblast, and Nadia, Luhansk Oblast. The settlements of Vorokna, Sinkivka, Ivanivka, Kyslivka and Berestov, Kharkiv Oblast, were under Russian artillery and mortar attacks. On the Lyman front, Russia launched airstrikes against Spern and Rozdalivka. The settlements of Nevsky and Bilohorivka, Luhansk Oblast, and Spern and Rozdalivka, Donetsk Oblast, were under Russian artillery and mortar attacks. On the Bakhmut front, Russia launched airstrikes in the areas of Ivanovsky and Bilohora, Donetsk Oblast. More than 10 settlements were affected by Russian artillery attacks, including Vashukivka, Minkivka, Markov, Bakhmut, Chasiv Yar and New York in Donetsk Oblast. On the Avdiivka front, Russia conducted unsuccessful offensive operations in the area south of Avdiivka, Donetsk Oblast. Over 10 settlements were attacked, including Novobakhmutivka, Novokulinov, Stepov, Karlivka, Pervomaysk and Nevelsky in Donetsk Oblast. On the Marinka front, the defense forces continue to restrain the offensive of Russian troops in the areas northeast of Novomykhailivka and Marinka, Donetsk Oblast. Russia launched an airstrike near Krasnohorivka, Donetsk Oblast. The settlements of Zeland Persh, Oleksandropol, Pobeda, Katerinivka, Yelizavetivka and Alinka in Donetsk Oblast were attacked by artillery. On the Shakhtarsk front, Russia launched an airstrike near Staromyorsk, Donetsk Oblast. More than 10 settlements were affected by Russian artillery attacks, including Vuhledar, Novokrenka, Zolotaniva, Ramivka, Staromyorsk and Rivnopil in Donetsk Oblast. On the Zaporizhia front, Russia launched airstrikes in the areas of Molotokhmishke and Robotyne, Zaporizhia Oblast. More than 20 settlements were affected by Russian artillery attacks, including Novodorivka, Malotokhmichka, Mali Sherbaki and Pyatikhatki, Zaporizhia Oblast. On the Kherson front, Russia launched an airstrike in the area of Tyainka, Kherson Oblast. More than 15 settlements were affected by Russian artillery attacks, including Lvov, Kherson, Komyshiny, Bilozerka and Kizimys in Kherson Oblast, and Oshakiv in Mykolaiv Oblast. At the same time, the defense forces of Ukraine continue to conduct an offensive operation on the Melitopol front, gain a foothold on the reached borders, and carry out counter-battery warfare measures. Aviation of the defense forces during the day carried out 1 strike on the command post, 13 strikes on the areas of concentration of personnel and 3 strikes on Russian anti-aircraft missile systems. Units of rocket forces and artillery hit 1 command post, 1 area of concentration of personnel, weapons and military equipment, 3 artillery means in firing positions, 1 air defense system, 1 ammunition depot and 1 electronic warfare station of the Russians over the past 24 hours. Russians convert sanatorium in Melitopol into field hospital, says Ukrainian General Staff. The Russians are continuing to use civilian infrastructure in occupied territories to treat their wounded personnel, converting a sanatorium in Melitopol, Zaporizhia Oblast into a field hospital, the Ukrainian General Staff reported on Facebook on August 24. About 100 wounded occupiers are being treated at the sanatorium in the occupied southern Ukrainian city, the General Staff said. Furthermore, Russians are positioning their combat units within operational school buildings in the occupied territories, officially designating them as militarized security facility for children. Ukraine's National Resistance Center, a state civil defense organization, has stated. Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine a year and a half ago, on Feb. 24, 2022. During the first year of the conflict, Ukrainian forces liberated almost the whole of Kharkiv Oblast in eastern Ukraine and the part of Kherson Oblast on the right bank of the Dnipro River in the south, including the administrative center, the city of Kherson. In early June, the Ukrainian armed forces started a counter-offensive in the south and east of Ukraine, progressively liberating occupied territories and establishing positions along reclaimed front lines. The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces reported on August 24 that Russia had lost 259,610 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes 340 casualties Russian forces suffered just over the past day.